Have you ever heard of the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad? It completely changed how millions of people see money. And it all started because the author, Robert Kiyosaki, had two dads. One was his real dad, super educated but always struggling with bills. That was his poor dad. The other was his best friend's dad, who dropped out of school early but became one of the wealthiest guys in Hawaii. That was his rich dad. And those two totally different ways of looking at the world, well, that's the core of everything we're about to get into. I mean, right from the get-go, the advice he was getting was worlds apart. His poor dad, the academic, preached the path we all know. Get good grades, get a safe job, climb the ladder. But his rich dad, he saw it differently. He wasn't interested in being just another employee. He wanted to own the whole system. And that right there, that's the big clash of ideas. Do you work for a company or do you own it? And this wasn't just about jobs, you know? It was a fundamental difference in their entire mindset about money. It was a choice between two completely opposing financial philosophies. Just look at how they talked about money itself. Poor dad believed money was this corrupting thing, something you shouldn't talk about. But rich dad, he saw money as a tool. He believed that the stress and problems caused by not having enough money, that was the real root of evil. This one belief shaped every single financial move they made. So why do most of us follow the poor dad path? Well, Rich Dad said it comes down to two very powerful emotions. First up, you've got fear. The fear of not being able to pay your bills, right? That fear is what pushes you to get a job in the first place. But then, as soon as that paycheck hits your bank account, another emotion takes over. Desire, or greed. You start picturing all the cool stuff you can buy. And those two emotions, fear and desire, are what lead you right into this trap he calls the rat race. Think about it. You get up, you go to work to make money to quiet down that fear. Then you spend that money on things you desire. And just like that, you're broke again, and the fear comes back, so you have to go back to work. It's this endless loop where you're running faster and faster on the wheel, but never actually getting anywhere. So, how do you escape the rat race? This is where we get to Rich Dad's first, and maybe most important lesson. And it basically flips everything you've ever been taught about jobs completely upside down. This is the big one. The whole goal isn't to just get a bigger salary. The goal is to stop trading your time for dollars. Period. It's about building or buying things, assets that make money for you, even while you sleep. It's about owning the machine, not just being a tiny gear inside of it. Okay, so that sounds great, but how do you actually make money work for you? Well, it all boils down to one incredibly simple rule. Rich Dad said if you can just master this one thing, the rest of the puzzle just falls into place. That's it. That's the entire game right there. Most people struggle their whole lives because they're busy buying liabilities that they think are assets. And Rich Dad's definitions for these two things, they're so simple, it's brilliant. Forget all the complex jargon you hear from financial advisors. For Rich Dad, it was dead simple. An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket. Think of a rental property where tenants pay you rent every month, or stocks that pay you dividends. It's literally a machine that generates cash for you. And a liability? Well, you guessed it. It's the exact opposite. It's anything that takes money out of your pocket. That car payment, your credit card debt, even your mortgage. Every month, they suck cash out of your wallet. See, it's not about the item itself. It's about which way the money is flowing. The best way to really let this sink in is to see it visually. It's not about how much you earn, it's about how your money moves. So let's take a look at the cash flow pattern for three different groups. First up, a poor person. The pattern is painfully simple. Money comes in from their job, and it goes right back out to cover basic survival costs like rent, food, taxes. There's nothing left over to put in the asset column. It's a pure hand-to-mouth cycle. Now, let's look at the middle class. They make more money, sure, but what do they do with it? They use it to buy liabilities they've been told are assets. They get a bigger house, a nicer car, but that money just flows right back out through mortgage payments, car loans, and credit card debt. Their liability column gets bigger and bigger, but that asset column, it's still empty. This is the rat race in a picture. And finally, let's look at the cash flow pattern of the rich. You see the difference? They focus almost all of their energy on one thing:
building that asset column. They buy real estate, stocks, businesses, things that generate passive income. And then that income from their assets pays for all their expenses. Their money is working for them, not the other way around, creating a cycle where their wealth just keeps growing. Okay, so this brings us to what is probably the single most controversial idea in the entire book. It's the one that really challenges the biggest financial belief of the middle class. Poor Dad said what we all hear. Our home is our biggest asset. But Rich Dad's logic was just brutal and simple. Since his house took money out of his pocket every single month for the mortgage, for taxes, for repairs, it was a liability, period. It didn't generate income, it ate income. Believing your house is an asset is the #1 trap that keeps people stuck in the rat race. All right, so you get it. Buy assets, not liabilities. The next logical step is, well, where do you focus your time and energy to actually build that asset column? Here's a huge distinction that most people miss. Your profession is not your business. You might be a lawyer, but you don't own the law firm. Your job is your profession. Your business, that's what you're doing with your money. It's your asset column. The rich focus on their business. Everyone else just focuses on their paycheck. And this is captured perfectly in a story about Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's. He once asked a group of students what business he was in. They all said, the hamburger business, right? And he said, nope, I'm not in the hamburger business. My business is real estate. See, McDonald's sold hamburgers, sure, but his real business, his focus, was acquiring the valuable piece of land under every single franchise. He was minding his own business. And that's really the big question this book leaves you with. It's not asking what you do for work between 9 and 5. It's asking what you're building for yourself. What's in your asset column? Are you just focused on your profession, or are you truly minding your own business?